quick video on how I would paint the underside of a weather board rain deflector. First of all, I need to take a look at that. This is sitting too close to the frame, so I need to take some off this. Just check that. That's good. Plenty of room there now. It's not going to stick. Just get it all sanded now. Before I sand this, just take a quick look on this underneath edge. So just see the odd miss on it there inside the capillary. Awkward for me to see this. And then also looks like the bottom of the door has been shaved, so I'll have to paint that as well. That was an 80 grit sandpaper there. That's okay now. Did you see that split? Good job I checked that bit of film. I need to fix that split. So I could see this split on the top, but obviously it's going right the way through. So I'm going to use some of this. It's a quick dry in 10 minutes. So 3 or 4 hours, that'll be okay for overpainting. Water-based paint. And there we just exterior use. Just make sure you've painted it. Yeah. So I'll get some of that brushed into these cracks, and I'm not going to clamp it because once I get some in there, that'll hold it. I just open it up so I can brush some in, and I can work some in there. That'll be okay. I've put a small amount of this adhesive into my pot. I've added a small amount of water, only a little bit, because this is too thick, the viscosity. I need it to flow down into this joint. So, like I say, thinned off a small amount, not too thin. I can open this up and just flood it in. And then we can leave it to set. Or damp cloth. And leave it. I'll put some in from underneath. Now when it comes to painting the underneath of these, here I'm not too bad. I've got good distance, I can work under there, no problem at all. But if your floor was a lot closer to the bottom of the door, then your space, you're going to be compromised, it's going to be limited. So sponge roller. This one has got a rounded end, probably better with a flat end, but still you won't get it in. So size of the roller, by the time you're trying to get it underneath, it's not going to work properly. Okay, you might struggle, you might get it, but at the same time you're not going to get in that capillary. So then you could try using an old emulsion roller. So you could take a pencil brush and then cut it down. I've done with this one, and I've just put it in the end of a caulking tool. So with that I can reach quite a lot of angles, but won't be any good there. On its own it will. I can paint underneath that, no problem whatsoever. Into the capillary, it's important. Yeah, well, not a bad idea, but you do have to cut a brush down. Alternatively, you could use an angled brush like that and simply coat it up, getting straight into that capillary. But again, it just depends on the distance we have here. There is another option, a neat little painter's trick, which is often quite overlooked, which is quite simply a pair of gloves, a cloth, and thin down your paint that you're using. That way you'll be able to work it into the wood underneath. It will work into the capillary, and you'll be able to protect the underneath of that wood. I'll just dip my cloth in there, get some on. It'll soak into the cloth. We want it to soak into that wood. Okay. That's just showing you how well it soaks into the wood there. Okay, now we do the underneath. Okay. It's actually easier than using a brush. Okay, and then we just come along the underside of the weatherboard, make sure we get that in there. That should be already covered. No, it's not, so I need to get right in. Difficult to see here. Then we got it there. I will come back over this with a brush, but I just wanted to show you how easy it is. Yeah, there we go. this some protection. So an oil gloss, thinned off, soaked into the wood is okay. So I'm going to sand this now. You could give it another thinned coat, soaked in with a rag, but really that'll have soaked in, that'll have protected it. That's okay. I am going to paint it properly because I can, but no worries there with the cloth. See, I've sanded this, stuck to it really well. That's waterproof. It's not going to get any UV damage. It'll just get any moisture that's going to be sitting here, and it will stop it from rotting. If you were needing to put a second coat on with the cloth thinned out, just wipe it in. If it wants to go in, it will go in. Just make sure you've always keyed it first. Give it a good sand. Just get something on at least. Okay, so I'll let that dry now. I'll give another light sand and I'll coat it up with a brush. But it's a really good tip there if you can't get to it. You could also use a wood preserver, clear wood preservers, anything that's going to soak into that timber and protect it. I've just got my angled brush. It's always worth checking it. Okay. Easy as that. That's alright, a lot better.